Hi there, Agile friends. Get ready for the World Tour of Agile at the Agile Online Summit 2023. You can join us from October 24th to 26th for a global showcase of cutting-edge Agile practices and insights. Join us at agileonlinesummit.com. This year, we will be featuring some of the best work done around the world and world-class keynotes. You can check all of that at agileonlinesummit.com. But the best part is that your ticket is on us. That's right, it's free to attend and immerse yourself in the world of Agile excellence. Don't miss out on this opportunity to level up your skills and network with peers and industry experts. Mark your calendars and secure your spot at AOS 23 today by visiting agileonlinesummit.com. So get your free ticket or opt for the full digital pass that lets you keep all the conference videos forever and organize, why not, Agile learning sessions at work. You can get the full digital access at agileonlinesummit.com. I'll see you in the conference floor. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Success Thursday. This week we have with us Seye Kuyinu. Hey, Seye, welcome back.
Thank you so much.
So, Seye, on Thursdays we will discuss success for us as Scrum Masters. But before we jump into that, do share with us, what's your favorite retrospective format and why?
Yeah, I have I want to say I have three that are my favorites, and I'm going to start from the list of them. It's the temperature mapping. So obviously I have, usually now that we're distributed, I have my MURAL board where I map out the days of the sprint, and then I put the emojis, and then each individual can grab an emoji that expresses what they feel like, what they feel internally from day to day, and then during our retrospective we can use that as a map or a graph to guide our emotions and start from there. Obviously I do the very popular one, which is the Sailboat retrospective. I find that having something visual like that almost all the time gets people to speak up, and to visualize what they're struggling with, what risk looks like for them, that one thing that helped them move from point A to point B, or that thing that's slowing them down. I find visuals to be very engaging with people. But one of my favorite ones is I don't have a name for it. It's one of those things that I experimented with and I found to be very useful. And it's employing storytelling to do more or less a futurespective. So sometimes I take teams to, okay, we've just finished this sprint, or we've just finished this quarter, or whatever. Now I want us to go to 2027 when we can look back at this particular period. Now, if we look back at this period, what could we have done to make this sprint or this quarter to be worse than it possibly is? And then what could we have been done to make this the greatest sprint or whatever? I find that even that creates some level of engagement before I go into the actual subtle question, which is, how was this sprint actually? And then with what we had within this sprint or within this quarter, if it's a quarterly retrospective, what were the things that we, that helped us? What were the things that enabled us? What gave us our strength? And then what things could we have done to, to remove some of the resistance and the constraints within the sprint. But I find that being able to take people to a future date like 2070, for instance, gets people to talk and gets people to engage. And then the creative juices and ideas begin to spring forth.
Yeah, absolutely. The imagination that we trigger is really just a connection with the things that matter to people, right? Because what do we imagine? The things that matter to us, right? And I really like, and of course, both the futurespective as well as the Sailboat retrospective kind of use different aspects of that trigger, right? Like the Sailboat uses imagery, right?
Yes.
We use metaphor. And in the futurespective, we're trying to express our maybe our largest fears and our greatest hopes at the same time.
Absolutely.
Definitely. Those three are great formats. I'll put the link to their explanation in the show notes so people can go and dive a little bit deeper. But now let's pay attention to success. And of course, we're talking about our success as Scrum Masters. So Seye, share with us, what does success mean for you as a Scrum Master?
I feel like this, there are many layers to how I see success as a Scrum Master. I think the very first one, or the first layer for me, would mostly be understanding what success looks like for those who I serve. I feel like you cannot take that away from how you define success for yourself, because if I was successful, but the teams that I work with or the organizations that I'm working with are not successful, what then does success look like? So I think the first thing is almost always about understanding what success looks like for them. And I found that many times people haven't even really paused to recognize what success looks like for them. So me being in a coaching space, being able to help them to articulate that success for themselves. The moment we see it, I want to know, what if we achieve this success, what are the things that we're going to see? What are the things that we're going to hear? What are the things that we're going to feel when we get this success? And what does that really look like for you? Then together I can help whoever I'm working with to craft a course towards that. And then being able to see that success come to fruition becomes my own success. So that, for me, tends to be the very first layer of success that I see. But from an individual perspective, I think that I will put success for myself as being able to create some level of influence. And I say that because in this job family, I find that from my own experience, I find that a lot of agilists, whether it's Scrum Masters, are pushed to this box of, these academics who are not realistic. You guys are too far removed from the project to even understand what's going on. So for me, it's the influence. I want to be able to sit down with anybody, and whether it's the product team, whether it's an executive, to be able to actually, hear what they're hearing, see what they're seeing, and be able to, influence them, help them to see what they probably aren't seeing because of their own deep focus in whichever direction they are. I feel like that almost always leads to my own success. So I can't really remove success from that in this way.
Absolutely. And you also said something as you started describing this first layer, understanding what success looks like for those whom I serve. And that's a very important and powerful phrase.
Yes.
And a great question for us in our self-reflection. Do I understand what success looks like from my team's perspective? Not my perspective, but my team's perspective.
Absolutely.
So that was layer one. How about the other layers of success for you, Seye?
Yeah. So from an agile perspective also, I want to say, we know that the measure of success is working software, right? So it now becomes, okay, what does working software even look like? Like, we probably need to even define that, which maybe that also falls into what I talked about. But it's like, at some point, we need to be able to stay focused on what working software looks like. And most times that ties back to our end users. And by end users here, I'm not necessarily talking about the person who's interacting with a feature that's delivered. It's the overall experience of, I want to say, of being human. So if I worked in an organization that does, maybe an e-commerce app, for instance, success isn't necessarily for me being able to deliver the app. It's also to be able to see that the end users enjoy using the app, for instance, or it simplifies their own lives. Because really, at the end of it, we can't, like I like to say, we can't really remove software development from our humanity or the product we're delivering from our own humanity. And so for me, I like to say that the modern agile principles are really principles that I live by personally. Making people awesome is the number one thing. And if for me to make people awesome, then I have to be awesome myself. I'm sorry to say, So if I can define success for myself, it really is, one, to make those who I serve successful, and then to make myself successful by once again with a lot of things that have to do with success. We almost always have to start with values. What are my own values, and how am I living out my values, and how am I expressing those values? And so if I'm able to express those values for myself, more likely than not, I'll be able to express it for those who I serve.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that you said that really stuck with me is we can't remove the product we are working on, or what working software means. We can't remove that from our own humanity.
Absolutely.
And that is, if we want to be, first of all, if we want to be in this for the long term, right? Like, we're not just trying to, be a flash in the pan, as it were. Then we need to recognize that we are working with humans, and one of those humans is us, right? We're also working with us as Scrum Masters. And it's very important to recognize that there's no success without our own humanity being part of that success.
Absolutely.
Great phrase.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that, Seye.
Thank you.
Part of a successful Scrum Master job is to help the product owner. Tomorrow we explore that critical role in Scrum, the product owner role. Tune in to learn about product owner anti-patterns, what you can do to help the product owner, and a real-life example of what a great product owner is and what made it so. Tomorrow on our Friday Product Owner episode. See you tomorrow. We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.